We're back with another watch along. What's going on, guys? How are you? This will be a fun one. 25th anniversary of WWE Survivor Series 1996. So let me see it. So you put it here so you can see it without the glare. I got the VHS here in my hand. We're going to be watching the Peacock version, though, as usual. And we talked about this over the past couple of weeks, that this would definitely be a Survivor Series that we're going to do because of the 25th anniversary of the debut of The Rock. We're right on top of this anniversary. I think the Survivor Series was like the 17th or 18th or something of the month back in 1996. I remember it well. I watched it in my apartment with my roommate and my buddy, and my dad even came over to watch this thing with us, and I had a little like 19-inch Magnavox TV, ordered it off pay-per-view, and was pretty surprised. Was not expecting Sid to win the title in the main event and have the crowd turn on Shawn the way they did. Really didn't see that coming, and this was a pretty memorable show for a lot of reasons, and I remember a lot about it. So it'll be fun to kind of check it out, hang out tonight, and shoot the shit right off the heels of a just phenomenal Full Gear pay-per-view by AEW last night. We had a great time reviewing that last evening. If you have not seen or heard my review yet, please go over to my channel and check it out. Audio is up on the website as well and all of the podcast sites, so you can check it out. Hangman Page did, in fact, win the title last night. It was fantastic to watch, and you loved to see it. And it was a lot of good wrestling throughout the whole show. The only downfall is they maybe tried to give us a little bit too much and burned out the crowd a little bit. Other than that, the show was really good, aside from a few very minor missteps, hiccups, and a couple of botches that pretty much every promotion sees. Solid show, solid effort, A+ all the way last night. So tonight will be fun to follow that up with a classic WWE show from a time period that we enjoyed a hell of a lot more than we enjoy now. We're going head-to-head, I guess, with the football game. I guess it's Chief Raiders. So it's, I guess those teams were like 5-3, 5-4 each, something like that. So some people might be interested in that one. And we usually do go head-to-head with the Sunday night game, but that's the way it goes on Watch Along Sundays. I want to say hi to you guys that are here in the chat. Can I be heard and all that stuff? A lot more than we enjoy. Cool. I did no sound checks. Yeah, we sound good. I didn't know sound checks or anything before we went live here because I was running a little bit late, so we're looking good. But hello, Charlie, and Tatanani is here. We are Pro Wrestling. As always, good to see you, man, because I might have a question, although maybe not. I'm pretty good at my 1996 trivia, so I think I could probably match you stat for stat on this particular show because I have such vivid memories of this time period. It'll be fun to take a look at this show again, and I just might have a question for you anyway, so stick around. Sam is here. Good to see you. David Brown, welcome back. Nice to see a monkey wrench. Also, Raymond Fran, good to see you. George Morris is back with the $5. Hey, Greg, how are you doing? Survivor Series 96, 10 out of 10. Back from Miami, had a blast, rode my bike down the mean streets, and visited nightclubs. Riding a bike down the streets of Miami would probably be a pretty interesting experience. I'd like to bike all the way down to the Keys. I think that would be fun. Go over like the Ocean Highway or whatever that shit is they have built down there. It'd be pretty fun. A 10 out of 10 you're giving the Survivor Series. I don't know if I would go that high. It was an odd show in a lot of ways, but we're going to be talking about it all here. And I guess next time you're back for a Raw review, I will expect your 0 out of 10s. Ratnick, what's up, man? I said that when they went 0-8. I said the Lions are not going to lose again. So far, my prediction has come true. Lions and the Steelers gave us the wrestling equivalent of Bill Goldberg versus Undertaker in Saudi Arabia today. Absolutely disgusting effort from both teams and a tie by the Lions. So they are now 0-8-1 or some shit like that. So they're coming back. They're going to win the Super Bowl. Mix Partial Farts is here. How Wheezy. Good to see you, man. Thank you for the pictures you sent me. How Wheezy met Kenny Omega this morning in New York. So Kenny got on a plane after dropping and coughing up the title to Hangman last night. He was in New York this morning for a meet and greet. Pretty cool that you got to see him along with a lot of other wrestling legends. I guess you were at another convention or signing or something like that, and that was pretty cool. So thanks for sending me that shit. Ben is in the house. Good to see you, man. Jet the Hawk. Big J, what's up? And Barry, MK400. Sorry, I spoiled the main event. I kind of thought people sort of knew what happened in that. Sorry about that, Barry. You might as well just quit watching. I used half of the image you sent me. I was looking for a good, high-quality image of the Survivor Series 96 poster. You sent me a pretty decent one, but I didn't like all of it, so I chopped it up and made my own. So thank you for that, Barry. You contributed to tonight's overlay. Appreciate that a lot. MJ Parker's in the house, and Ramon Coffey and Ben Espinoza. Good to see a lot of the familiar faces back for our watch-along. In the meantime, hopefully you guys have gotten your Peacock pulled up. You are going to want to go to Survivor Series and look for Season 10 is what you want. Season 10 of Survivor Series. I know most of the people in here in the chat right now are here every week, so you know what to do. So pull it up, get all of your ads out of the way, and get all of your zeros across the board there on the bottom, and then we'll all hit play together here in just a little bit. And you need to follow along with the timer above my head. That's how we do it. If I buffer or I stall, if I lose complete internet connection, the timer above my head will not stop once we come to. You just keep following the timer. Same thing on your end. If you have any technical difficulties, just sync your timer. That's all you have to do. We'll all be able to watch it together and enjoy WWE's Peacock version of Survivor Series 96. My memories of this off the top of my head, I do remember a couple of things attached to this. They did, I believe, a Hall of Fame ceremony the night before, and that was when Jimmy Snuka and others were inducted into the Hall of Fame. They will probably show a recap of that somewhere here on the show. And Snuka was actually a mystery partner in one of the Survivor Series matches. And the match that he was a mystery partner in, I don't know what it is about Madison Square Garden. It's very reminiscent of 2 years prior at WrestleMania 10. They ran out of time and had to scrap a match. And they almost had to do this here. And it was whatever match Snuka was involved in. Maybe even Jake was in the same match. Jake was here for some reason. I remember. I know New Diesel was in this match, maybe Farouk and some others, and it just ended in a big schmoz, like a big DQ, because they were running out of time and they had to go to the main event. So I do remember that 5-on-5 being a little bit of a mess because so much time was given to Brett and Austin, and don't forget Mankind and Undertaker was also on this show too, because the pay-per-view before was Buried Alive, and Undertaker got buried alive, and he was basically like resurrected as Batman or some shit in this show to finally blow off the long-running feud that he had all through 1996 with Mankind. So that also took place here as well, and then of course the crazy main event where the New York crowd just backed up Sid 100% and shit all over the boy toy. So it's going to be fun. And then, of course, we do have the debut of The Rock as well on this show. Back in the day, Vince and WWE, I think, were really high on him. They were making a big deal about him, but I don't think they had any idea how things would play out, that they would bring him in as this happy, smiling babyface. Fans would shit on it. He'd wind up getting hurt, come back, be a heel, join the nation. They put the microphone in front of him, and then holy shit, next thing you know, he's the most successful movie star in the history of the universe. So funny how things work out. Anyway, hopefully you guys are heading on over to Peacock by now, and you got your Survivor Series Season 10 pulled up and ready to rock. I have not even hit play on mine yet, so let me just get mine all zeroed up at the bottom and make sure we're all ready to rock, and we'll get going here in a minute. There we go. I am all set on my end, so I'll give you guys a second to do it on yours, and we'll get going. And yes, Ramon, that's right. I had almost forgotten about that. This was also Yokozuna's last appearance in the WWE, unless he did one final crazy house show or something that we're not aware of. I think, was he a mystery opponent or a mystery partner in this too? It seemed like there was a lot of mysteries in this one. It was Yokozuna. I know The Rock was debuting. I know Jake Roberts and Snuka, I think, both came out as somewhat surprises, I believe. So there are a few things about the show that I don't remember. So it'll be interesting to see this again. And by this point, Yoko was just unimaginably huge. I mean, he was way over 600 pounds by this point, and this is after he had already left to try to lose weight and everything, and it just wasn't working out. He had worked the kickoff show at SummerSlam a few months before against Austin and lost, and just continued to get bigger and bigger, which is crazy. Yoko under contract until 98. I wasn't really aware of that. I actually didn't know when his contract was officially up. That sounds about right. When he came in, he probably signed something like a 5-year-ish deal, whatever, and then or maybe a 2-year with an extension, and that would put it around 1998. But he was incapable of working all throughout 1997, from what I remember. So super sad. The Rock said not making it into the NFL was the best thing that never happened. That's true. It is. If he would have gone in the football direction, who knows? He could have still gotten involved in wrestling, but, things would have been different. Landscape would have been different. Rock was a lot about being right place, right time. You know what I mean? So anyway, all right, it's about quarter past the hour now, so perfect time to get this pulled up. I'm going to get my double mouse thing going on here so we can start this show together. And we'll do a countdown from 3, and then we will hit play. So just follow along with the timer above my head, and you'll be good. All right, I got my finger on the timer, and I got my finger on the cock. I mean on the play button on the cock. You know what I mean. Anyway, we'll count down from 3. Y'all ready to go? Here we go. 3, 2, 1, play. Perfect. I'm undefeated doing these. All right, don't skip the intro or anything like that. We're going to watch this right from the very, very beginning. Yeah, WWE, they were on the ropes around this point. NWO was pretty new, only a few months old. Oh, there's the Hall of Fame. I forgot who else was in that class with Snuka. I don't think it was Patterson. I want to say he was in the first one, but it might have been Pat. Because I'm pretty sure Pat sings. Karate Fighters. All right, here we go. They still had a sold-out crowd. This still was MSG. This is a few months after the curtain call, all that shit that went down in the Garden. This part of 1996 looked a hell of a lot different than the first part of 1996. Razor and Diesel gone. Up until tonight, Brett was gone for most of that. It almost looks like they recycled the WrestleMania 10 kind of entrance and just put Survivor Series logo over top of it. Here comes Owen. Oh, that's right. It's Owen, Davey, and the New Rockers. And I think it's Furnace and LaFon. And I forget who's on the other side. Probably Godwin's or some shit. And I think this is 4-on-4. There's Vladimir in the front row, as always, at the Garden. Fink announcing the combatants. Doesn't get any more MSG than that. By the way, our snacks for tonight are these. Standard, 1,000 milligrams. There's 10 of them. I ate 2. We'll see what happens. Oh, this was their debut. And LaFon used to wrestle as Dan Crofat. And then Doug Furnace was like kind of big in Memphis, if I remember. Super, super strong. Had an awesome drop kick. Jim Ross used to refer to his powerlifting career 6 times in every match whenever he'd get in the ring. And I think he just passed away too. One of them or both are dead. I can't remember which one. Oh, they're dubbing over Don't Go Messing with a Country Boy again. Why does WWE dub over music that's on their own fucking released CDs? Like, are they really that cheap? How much could the royalties to Don't Go Messing with a Country Boy fucking be? $9? I'll pay it. Oh, there we go. 96, Real Pro Wrestling. Thanks. Snuka. So it was Patterson, Vince Sr., Albano, Kowalski, Johnny Rods, Baron Mikel Cicluna, and the Valiant Brothers. Cool. Okay, 96 and 94 I conflate because they got so many of those early day WWF guys in that I kind of forget. You know, Kowalski I would have thought would have gone in 94, but he was that was more like Ernie Ladd, I think, and guys like that in 94. Mixed bars of arts, 100 milligram, huh? Yeah, well, I ate 2 of these. These are 100 milligrams each, so there's 10 of these. I ate 2. I'll probably sleep good. Yeah, Furnace and LaFon. I've got some tape. I've got some matches of LaFon and Furnace in All Japan. I don't know, Johnson or Jimmy Hart. I don't know, Sam, which one wrote that music. It might have been somebody else because I know they had real musicians coming in to help produce those wrestling albums. Like in '87, they had Rick Derringer, and then in '86, I can't remember who they were using, but that might have something to do with it. But still, like, how much could it cost? Like cheap ass fuckers. Yeah, Furnace died in 2012. Okay, he's been dead for a while. I thought it was more recent than that. He's been dead for almost 10 years now. Wow. Yeah, there's Jim Ross, world-class powerlifter. He doesn't ever not mention the powerlifting. All right, so we got Jack Doan as the ref here. We got Hillbilly at ringside. Hillbilly in Madison Square Garden. Again, it's kind of cool. Him and Hogan had a tag match or two as teammates in that building. Tatanani, Andre was the very first person ever to go into the Hall of Fame. They created the Hall of Fame after Andre died. I think he was the lone inductee in '93, and he basically just went in by himself. And then I think the following year was when they did an actual ceremony and threw in the Antonino Raccas and the Ernie Ladds and the Arnold Skolins and guys like that. I think went in on that first kind of ceremony. But Andre was the inaugural member. Marty dancing around. I mean, honestly, there's not a bad piece of talent in this ring right now. Marty, despite the fact that he's a fucking crackhead, was very good. Al Snow is very good. Furnace and LaFon are pros. Owen and Davey are Owen and Davey. And I'd say the weakest ones are old Phineas and Canterbury, but they're both fucking good for big guys. So there's not a single wrestler in this match I don't care for. Clarence Mason on the outside. Clarence Mason. Yeah, I know. There's obviously like more to it than that, or maybe just things just it might not be very consistent. Sometimes music is dubbed on one show but not another. WWE's very disorganized with this stuff. I also don't remember here. I'm assuming this is when you get. They didn't do some weird rule this year where if you're pinned, both team members are gone, right? I would assume it's still elimination. I hate the way Phineas spit and then you rub it in his hair. Ever see Hillary Clinton do that? Oh, yeah, that's right. This would have been 96. This would have been right after the 96 election. So Clinton would have just gotten reelected probably a couple weeks before this. Who'd he run against in 96? Bob Dole, I think. Bob Dole got his ass kicked from what I remember. Oh. You don't want to do that. That is dumb. This was kind of when Jim Ross was getting sassy on the mic. A couple months before this, he introduced the new Razor and Diesel, and I know him and Vince on this show have a little back and forth a little bit. Mixed partial farts. Do I even have to answer that? Tag team elimination action, Vince says. Oh, yeah, Norm was Dole. Norm as Dole was good. Will Ferrell as Bush was good. What's-his-face as Clinton was really good. Daryl Hammond. Oh, and Phil Hartman would do Clinton really well, and then Daryl Hammond was good as Clinton, too. They're just pounding poor Phineas. Look at Owen and Davey working together. Harvey Whippleman's the referee on the outside. Well, I think that explains it. Oh, yeah, Dana is Ross Perot. That might have been one of the best. And he did a good Bush, too. He did George Bush Sr. and Ross Perot. No, it's not the New Age Outlaws, although I did watch them. I was in attendance. I was in the 4th row when they won their first ever tag team titles when they beat the Road Warriors. So I was there the night they were born, but they're not my favorite. Yeah, Brett and Austin later on. Brett and Austin had worked overseas, but they had not worked on TV up until this point. Oof. Crotched poor Marty. Oh, Jim Ross, give Phineas a break, man. Oof. Jim Ross, what a heel. Said Phineas spent 3 years in the 4th grade. That's sad. Oh, I remember, yeah, Raymond Frand, not only do I have the VHS tape right here, but I have my pay-per-view recording intact, free-for-all and all. So there was a Bart and Billy team on that, and I remember watching it. Jose, Peacock sucks compared to the WWE Network. I miss the WWE Network. All right. I think it's Marty who's out. Is that the first elimination? Now they're going quicker. Marty and then Godwin back-to-back. Or Henry, I should say. Shanghai. And Tex tosses out Owen. Down goes Davey. Oh, he's going nuts after the referee now, too. Wearing his Oshkosh bagoshes. Yeah, Ruben, the top rope power bomb to Candido at 95. That was the damnedest thing. Oh, Owen's trying to tag Davey there. Yeah, the Garden is still a bucket list for me. And there goes Phineas. But not for like a house show. I want to be like front row pay-per-view at Madison Square Garden. If I can figure out a way to make that happen, I'll make the trip. But I'd like to do that once. I can't believe I've actually never been, especially 20 years ago when I would have easily made the trip up there. I was happy when they put Davey and Owen together because, Furnace missed. I don't know if that was a botch or what that was supposed to be. Furnace went for that great drop kick, and Davey dropped his head. But Davey and Owen, I mean, the tag team division in '96 was bad. You're talking Skip and Zip. You're talking New Rockers. You're talking Bushwhackers, Godwins, shit like that. These teams were horrendous. So when they put them together, I'm like, oh, good. And Furnace and LaFon came in, too. I'm like, all right, we got some teams now at least. But still, it wasn't a very strong division at all. So Davey and Owen were the natural and obvious guys to hold the title because they're easily the strongest team, if I don't knock my whole desk over here. Cassidy, very aggressive. How's Al Snow in better shape now than he was here 25 years ago? How does that work? Regina Tallgirl, this was the last great Survivor Series of the 90s. I kind of agree. 98 wasn't bad. Deadly Game was not bad. But 99 I did not like, and 97 obviously was the shits. So yeah, I kind of agree. Oh, top rope missile drop kick to Furnace from Owen. That looked good. But 98 also wasn't your typical Survivor Series. You know, it was a tournament. They didn't do any of this shit at that one. So I guess it's the last of Survivor Series as we knew them. Nice. 99, JCS, I just don't remember loving it. That Austin got ran over, right? They put the title on the Big Show, which seemed weird. And other than that, I don't remember much about the show. So it's just not like it doesn't stick out in my mind of like a classic. So maybe if I watched it, I wouldn't like hate it or anything. But I always associate the show with a little bit of sadness because Austin was advertised. As soon as he got ran over by that car, you knew he was going to be out and be injured and gone for a while. And I wasn't really on the Big Show bandwagon. I didn't dislike Big Show at all, but certainly wouldn't have been putting the title on him at that point. I think they just wanted to make him, I guess. But, yeah, I just don't have fond memories of it. Big suplex. See, another thing, they run, like I said, they're going to run into time constraints later, and they're going to cut one of their matches short. They could have easily shaved 6-7 minutes off this match. This shit should be over already. Jim Ross, Bulldog has never won a match with that vertical suplex. Jim Ross is giving Bulldog shit for not going for the cover. I'm like, he wouldn't have pinned him. Even I know that, Jim Ross, and you've been doing this longer than me. Yeah, we are pro wrestling. They knew he wasn't going to, and I remember at that time, too, the rumblings of it. There was, I guess, I think people just kind of knew he was hurt or something was up because he was super limited, too. I was at Unforgiven a couple months before, and he was like the referee in that six-pack thing or whatever. And I do think he worked No Mercy, but he wasn't Austin. You could tell something was wrong. And the hotlines and the sheets were speculating on that prior to the event. So when he was, Al Snow just got eliminated. So when he was ran over from the car with the car, I knew I wasn't really that surprised, but it basically just confirmed that Austin's going to be out for a while. And then they just decided to give us a surprise, which I appreciated, in with the Big Show, trying to give the fans, trying to make up for the fact that they took Austin away by giving us something completely out of left field that we wouldn't have expected. So I guess maybe that was their decision behind it. But I just thought the belt should have gone to Triple H, which it did the next month, or at the end of the year, I believe. They probably should have just done that the whole time. But one man's opinion. I was Vince maneuvering himself out there. I missed it. Yeah, I'm surprised that triple threat never happened earlier than when it was scheduled. Owen Hart has it all. Where is the volume? Oh, yeah, there it is. I don't like that the volume is up top. That's freaky. It's cool seeing Owen wrestle in the Garden. That big win he had there a couple years before. Yeah, this match, it's way too long. What's up, Jonelle Jackson? Big Inseguri to LaFon. Survivor Series 05. Somebody mentioned that one, that we take a look. I think maybe the next watch along we'll do a Survivor Series, maybe somewhat more recent than the one we're looking at now. And then in December we'll do some holiday related shit. But next week is Survivor Series for this year, so we'll be reviewing that. But the week after, I'll probably do another Survivor Series watch along just for fun. Owen Hart Cup is set for sometime early 2022. We'll probably hear more about that now that Full Gear has come and gone. Probably get some details before the end of the year, I would assume. Another thing I remember at the time about this match being kind of annoying because it's dragging on. You knew it was going to be a showcase for Furnas and LaFon because WWE needs teams, so naturally they're going to put them over here. Jim Ross giving shit to Harvey Whippleman. I like that. Vince said he's royalty. Unless he's talking to the king, because Bruno kind of is royalty. He's been involved in WWE forever. He was part of that car accident that took Joey Morella's life. All right. Oh, there's another little piece of business that I just remembered. So Bulldog just got eliminated. But I just remembered something else that happened. So Piper had just shown up at Halloween Havoc a few weeks before this, but also Perfect left. I want to say it was like the Monday before this. He was either on the go-home Raw for Survivor Series or the Raw before when they did the angle. Oh, no, it was the night after Buried Alive. So it was about a month before. So Perfect had just turned heel on Mark Marrow, helped Triple H win the Intercontinental title, and was supposed to be with Triple H here at Survivor Series, but left the company and would head to WCW once whatever settled with him. He wouldn't debut in WCW until like the following summer, but you knew prior to the Survivor Series that Perfect was gone and leaving to WCW. So he had left just overnight, which was crazy. Left right in the middle of that angle. We Are Pro Wrestling might know the details behind that one, but I think he couldn't appear on WCW for quite some time, maybe either because of some whatever contract situation was going on here. Could be his Lloyd's of London thing or whatever, but it was a while before Hennig showed his face on WCW, showed up at a pay-per-view or something with Raven. I didn't even know Sami Zayn was being replaced. So I guess WWE's strategy now is to release the entire team on social media and then just spend the next couple of weeks on TV changing them, because they changed Dominic right away, right? They changed Aaliyah, and I wasn't sure about the Sami Zayn thing. I didn't watch any WWE this week. It felt great. No Raw, no NXT, no SmackDown. Nothing. I've never felt better. And no Raw for me tomorrow night either. We'll be back Wednesday for Dynamite Watch Along, and then this coming Friday after SmackDown, we're going to do a review and knock out Survivor Series predictions. So no Winged Eagle on Saturday. We're going to do it Friday night instead. That's the plan. That was Rob Van Dam's counter that he usually does. That's reverse spin heel kick thing that he does. Do I smell what The Rock is cooking? Always. Always. He likes garlic. It's very, very intense. Oof. Furnas ran over Owen. There's that dropkick. It's coming. Yep. It's okay. Furnas has got a good one. He's no Jim Brunzell, but he's good. Bob Holly throws a similar dropkick like Furnas does. But I always thought Brunzell was excellent. Oof. And Randy Orton, too. Oof. German. Owen flips All right, that's it. Owen got pinned, and they put Furnace and LaFon over. This is about as boring as the pay-per-view will get. The rest of it is pretty awesome. That match went close to 25 minutes. Actually, probably more like 20 after entrances. But I think it could have gone 15, and you could have stuck 5 more minutes onto that match later on that they fell so short on. Yeah, TakeOver back on December 5th. I'll be off. We'll probably watch that or review it or something next month. I'm off on the Sundays, so I will be available to do that. Might be the only NXT I ever watch is the TakeOvers. Prime Oklahoma beef. JR. Sorry, my armchair, the arm of my chair is right up against my desk. So anytime I adjust, I rattle shit. So I'm sorry. Anthony Alston, Hennig didn't leave on the best of terms in 96. In fact, there was a Nitro in early 97 where Larry Hennig was in the front row and WCW spotlighted him. Might have been a power play on Kurt's part, but I think by then it was already a done deal. By the way, we're in the boiler room with Kevin Kelly and Mankind and Paul Bearer. But I don't think by the time Larry was on Nitro that Kurt coming to WCW was in question. The minute he didn't show up here at Survivor Series, he was going to WCW. That was the point, because they were going to pay him. He wouldn't walk away for money. So I think that was probably just something that they did, maybe to tease the fans a little bit more that Hennig is on his way. But as We Are Pro Wrestling might be pointing out here, it's likely the no-compete stuff. Yeah, so it was a no-compete and clearing things with Lloyds of London. So WWE didn't have a ton of no-competes really in place at that point. So I don't know what Kurt's contract was like in 96, especially since he wasn't wrestling at all. But it took him a while. I can't remember what pay-per-view it was. It was like Bash at the Beach, or it was somewhere May, June, or July. It was one of those months where I think it was the same night that Raven also showed up in WCW, like Hennig and Raven both. They were Impact players or Impact something or other like that. And Hennig was maybe a mystery partner for DDP or something. I think it's something like that. So it took him a while. But as a fan, I remember being bummed out. I'm like, can they not keep anybody? Piper had taken off. I thought it was cool that Mr. Perfect was back in WWE, and then boom, overnight he's gone. Second time he walked out on them. Revolving around an MSG show, WrestleMania 10, he's the referee, and then he just no-shows the live events, or he just leaves for whatever reason. And then here again, he's supposed to be at Survivor Series after showing back up the year before on commentary, and 1 year later, gone. So what kind of, I'm just curious what kind of no-compete and what kind of deal he had at that time if he's not wrestling. A year-long deal, one would think. Oh, Larry Zbyszko throwing verbal shots at Larry Hennig. I can see that. AWA rivalry from back in the day, man. Okay, cool, Anthony. It was Bash at the Beach. Yeah, I think you're right. I knew it was one of those. I mean, all this is at our fingertips right here at Google, but I'm trying to chat with you guys, so I'm just going to rely on you guys to look this up and confirm my ramblings. Okay, so this was the cage. They had to put, Paul Bearer had to go in a cage. This was easily the weakest match between these two guys of the year. I loved their King of the Ring 96 match. I think it was my favorite match between the two that they've ever had. I know that it's including Hell in the Cell the next 2 years, or 2 years later, but still, that match in 96 was awesome. And I knew that WWE was going to treat Cactus like a big deal when they had him beat The Undertaker. Undertaker does not have a good record at King of the Ring. He lost in 95, too. And the fact that Mankind beat him there, and then you turn around and do it again at SummerSlam, he beats him again. Now you turn Paul Bearer against Undertaker, which I thought would never happen. And then Undertaker gets buried alive. Even though he did technically win that match, he still got buried alive. And now he returns as Batman. And as an Undertaker fan, this didn't please me too much. I didn't like it. Looking back, I think it's cool that Taker tried to change his look up, but this one was weird. Too much leather. He looked like Sable. And nobody needs that. A lot of shit hanging from the ceiling. Taker's coming down from the ceiling and Paul Bearer's going up. Only 3 more years of this shit and they wouldn't be doing that anymore. Chris, what's up, man? Appreciate the $5. Good to see you. When I lived in Connecticut, I went to MSG quite a bit for college basketball. And I have to say, the first time I went there, I was kind of surreal. 10 out of 10 recommended. Yeah, I've never been. So it just should be a nice trip for me to make. But I am an awfully far distance away from MSG. Back when I lived on the East Coast, it would have been much more easier for me to pull something like this off, but I'm going to have to make a specific trip all the way across the country just to do that. So, I don't know if I got that kind of time, but we'll see. Bearer is in the cage. Taker's got the... And I remember we were at my house, and we were like, what is that shit on his face? Is it like a turd? We thought a turd was on his face. We thought it was a rib. Like, people put turds in people's sandwiches and shit. And I'm like, did they put a turd on Undertaker's face and he doesn't know it? I love the cage cam. Oh, there's Bowl Cut guy. Remember him? Vladimir, and then there's the other guy with the bandana. He's at a bunch of shows. See, that's something I couldn't do. Paul Bearer hanging up there. I'm not totally afraid of heights. I'm afraid of certain kinds of heights. Like, I can be at the top of a building, you know, as long as I'm inside. I can be in a plane. I'm not freaking out. But if I'm anywhere where something could break or snap, like, I don't want to zip line or anything, or those little things, ski lifts, or those things that take you across, like zoos, you know, and you sit in them and you go across I'm like losing my shit up there. So if I was hanging from that thing, I'd be extremely nervous. And I'd be like, if this thing breaks, I die. And that's not a good feeling. Oh, yeah, good point, Regina. First time Taker's ever exposed his hands without the gloves. I didn't like it. I didn't like anything that was going on here. And he would evolve this look a little bit. It would get a little better by the time he got to Mania and he won the title. And then he was champion, and then he kind of had that look going with the hat, a little bit of it. I liked it better than what he was doing here. Out there, he does look like Sable. In the previous year, he debuted a new look, remember, with the mask. And a couple of years later in 2000, he wore those, like, I don't know what was going on with his pants. But it still haunts my dreams. So I don't know what it is with Taker and Survivor Series and unique looks, but seems to be a pattern with him. Yeah, I think as Raymond's right, as like 97 went on, the attire improved, I think. There's just way too much leather happening here. Like, imagine, like, Taker's a big guy here, too. He hadn't really leaned up yet, so he still had a lot of weight on him. Imagine him trying to peel off these wet leather pants from his gigantic sweaty thighs. You guys can picture it. Go ahead, close your eyes. Oh, that was the year that Taker, I think, maybe lost his gear or some shit, and the Godfather. Well, that makes sense. Those did look like Godfather pants. They were hideous. I thought he did that shit on purpose. Apparently, he just kind of had no choice. But Mankind's had some wars in MSG too. He faced Taker, and he's got a couple of big ones against Triple H when he came out as Cactus Jack, and then the Rumble 2000. Trying to think, Taker actually, come to think of it, help me out, people my age. Has Taker had any big Survivor Series, big Madison Square Garden moments? He's never won the title at Survivor Series, has he? Why do I keep saying Survivor Series? He won it in 91. Won it in Madison Square Garden. Taker has never had any Madison Square Garden big moments. I don't think he's ever captured a title there, unless I'm just forgetting something. Like every big WWE icon is always has some big MSG moments, and I can't think of a big one for Taker or anything too major. I'm sure he's won a match in the Garden, but I'm saying like any sort of major career moment. I don't think anything took place in the Garden. Highway to Hell? Maybe Highway to Hell. That comes to mind. Thank you, Ruben Litton. Highway to Hell. So he has won. It was a losing effort, but that was memorable. We did a watch-along on that back in August, by the way. So yeah, Highway to Hell. I guess he does have... Thank you. See, Ben, this is why you guys are here. 2 big moments at Madison Square Garden. His return at WrestleMania 20 and Highway to Hell. So, see, you guys just have to do my thinking for me sometimes. Yeah, so that counts. He's got a couple, you know. Those are actually pretty big moments. I almost forgot Paul Bearer's up there. I'm trying to think, aside from singles matches, after this, it's only Brett and Austin and Sid and Shawn. And then there's the tag with Rocky. And then I think there's the other tag that they cut short, and I think that's the extent of the card. I always liked how Mankind would scream. Ooh, I loved Mankind's pile drivers. He'd pull down on the gear. Little extra. Paul Bearer is braver than I am. I'd be pissing myself up there. Now, I think that might have been the first good look at that thing on his face. God, look how young Kyoto looks there. Man, I almost didn't recognize him. Yeah, Anthony, interesting things do happen during the Brett and Austin match. There was some sort of I don't know, just some sort of awkward vibe between Vince and Jim Ross. And it was like Vince was very, very pro Brett during the match. Or I'm sorry, JR was. Vince was trying to be more realistic, and I could tell the way they were kind of barking back and forth that part of it was this new persona of JR, but I think a lot of it was Vince's immediate buyer's remorse. He had just signed Brett to that 20-year deal. He's under a lot of pressure right now, and he was just getting agitated or something. I just think Jim Ross is pushing his buttons, and something happens at the end of it where Jim Ross, we'll see later at the end of the match, Jim Ross is like, I don't think that anybody on this night in a million years, no matter who you are, could have beat Bret Hart tonight. And Vince is like, I disagree with that or whatever, and just kind of gets pissed sort of or whatever. And it's just odd. So something's going on there. I think a lot of it is just kind of personal feelings. I think Vince is happy to have saved Brett and not let him go to WCW, but also maybe a little bit worried about, the future and, what's going to happen and shit like that. So I don't know. But JR was kind of almost backing off of the heel stuff by now because he was heel hard in September and October. And here he's like trying to state his case, but not be so combative like he was previously. I think by now he was already in the phase out mode of that character. Or they were just weaning it off of him. He was still kind of being a dick, but he wouldn't be for long. It was right around this time, too. The rosters were switching, man. Piper and Perfect and Hall and Nash were all in WCW, and then the Dustins and the Cactuses and the Austins and the Pillmans and the Vaders and the Barry Windhams, who we would see later on, they were all here. The Mark Marrows. Rosters did a big flip. I'd say 25% of both rosters swapped sides during this time period. If that happened now, fans would be losing their minds. He's got the claw and Taker. No, Steven, I think this was like the previous one. I think it was Buried Alive where that was happening. Or maybe even the one before that. But I think it was Buried Alive. He was getting pissed. I kind of forgot. I said earlier that tag match was a little bit boring. I'm like, oh, shit's really going to pick up. But then we got hit with this match, which I know was the weakest easily of the Mankind and Taker saga. Because I know in the end here, Taker wins, and I don't know if Paul Bearer gets beat up or not. I can't remember. Oh, no, I do. I remember what happens. I think we see Terry Gordy make an appearance. Oh. I feel like they're going for the finish here. He's waking up from the mandible claw. He's hulking up. We'll probably get a choke slam and a tombstone and a pin. Hopefully. There's a choker. Yeah, and then I think Executioner would work with Taker at the next pay-per-view. Before just leaving altogether. They only brought him in for a couple of months. Very bizarre. I don't even think I knew until maybe it was like when the Freebirds went into the Hall of Fame or something. I had no idea that Jesse from Jesse and Festus was Terry Gordy's son. I had no idea. Until he was there for the Hall of Fame or something. I'm like, well, look at that. Get in there, Mick. This was my favorite version easily of Mankind, even more than a lot more than Mr. Sacco. Mr. Sacco, Mankind was fun and everything, but this was so much better. He was so dedicated to it, too. The way he'd squeal and mumble to himself, during the match. I always thought that was so good. He's like, he's going around the ring and shit. I just thought that was so awesome. I'm like, he really pulled off a crazy man well. If you're a casual fan watching this, you're like, I legitimately think that guy's completely off his rocker. He picked up something. Looks like the same thing that was laying on the mat. He just pulled it out of his trunks. Maybe it fell out and he stuck it back in. Oof. I don't know if that was the same thing. I would have sworn whatever that thing he's using, somebody threw into the ring. So maybe Paul Bearer dropped it from the cage. Maybe that's what happened. Oh, yeah, We Are Pro Wrestling. They didn't go far enough with the Goldust Mankind mommy thing. They could have carried that for a year. Like, they could have really gone through. They could have done segments where the two of them go to the adoption agency to make legally Goldust Mankind's mommy. They could have done all of it. I would have loved it. That would have been amazing shit. And don't make it like, oh, there's the tombstone. That's going to be the finish there. And don't make it like hokey or silly. Make it like dark. Like, make it, yeah, ridiculous, but like, they really are going through this. This isn't a comedy segment. They want to legally make Goldust Mankind's mommy, and they take it very seriously. And I just think that would be fucking great Attitude Era TV. Probably wouldn't be any good now, but back then, they should have done more with it. They should have gotten twisted with it, as twisted to push it to the boundaries as far as you can go during that time. You know, some weird mommy fetish, and then, I don't know, 1 week they kiss or something. It'd be fucking great. People would go nuts. Again, I'm thinking along the lines of 1997 or 6. Here comes the Executioner. Like, they were pulling guns out on TV to compete with WCW. Why not a little Goldust and Mankind mommy action or something? I don't know. Wouldn't be any weirder. Oh, that's right. He had already debuted. He'd already been around, I think, at Buried Alive. Taker's piss. So basically, Executioner, we had that whole match. Again, they could have shaved 2 or 3 minutes off of this one and saved that 10-man tag later. Paul Bearer was saved by the Executioner, so he never even got beat up. What's up, Spaz Phoenix? Thanks for the $2. What has 6 legs, 4 arms, and 2 heads? A liar. Oh, yeah? Okay, I think I get it. But you got to remember. I know. That was the case with a lot of people, too. You saw a lot of rivalries in WCW that were pairings and stuff in WWE. And sometimes vice versa, the way Austin attacked Pillman. Tombstone to Mankind, and he goes down. Taker finally gets a win over Mankind after being owned to the point where he had to completely change his look and persona and lost his manager. It took all that for him to finally get a victory in the ring over Mankind. Not sure if it was worth it. That's right, Victor. We didn't talk about that either. This is the debut of the new Farouk. I'm enjoying it, Vince. Furnace and LaFon, check out those laptops. I got to get me one of those. What are those, compacts? Look at the size of those things. America Online, my God. I remember those early 1996 days of the internet. Dial-up. Oh, yeah, I think Sunny hangs out for commentary. I hear her music. Oh, we're not going to get to see Sunny? Oh, we're back. Okay, there she is. This is the Sunny that I miss. This was peak Sunny. And she's, I guess, commentary or ring announcer. I forgot. '96. I knew so many girls that had hair like that. Okay, so Howard's in there, so she must be commentary. Vince McMahon. Vincent Kennedy McMahon. Yeah, JR's right. Vince just gyrated. Y'all, I apologize. If I would have known and remembered that Vince gyrates, we would have done a different pay-per-view. If you have to unsubscribe, I understand. That's completely unnecessary, uncalled for, and fucking rude of me to watch a pay-per-view where Vince does that. All right. I'm all right. All right, so the team, we got Crush, King, Goldust, and a perfectless Triple H.
The disadvantage your opponents will be at being 3-on-4 because of the injury to Mark Henry. You think victory's in the bag. That's right. And this is the big time. This is New York City.
Listen to his voice.
Mark Merrill, I'm going to show you.
I'm going to show you.
The Intercontinental Champion. And it looks like your team has already come up a little bit short. You know what? Big Mark Henry has feigned injury rather than face the goal.
Oh, that's right. So I knew there was more than one mystery partner here. Mark Henry's out of the babyface team.
3 men in the world that can beat the 4. We're surviving, baby.
So he's either replaced with, I think he was replaced with Jake.
We make a well-oiled machine of destruction. Survivor Series. What an appropriate title.
Crush. That's a terrible promo. What a weird team. King and Hunter were on the team together the year before. Oh, yeah, and I think Rocky. This is Rocky's debut. This is it. That's right. He's on the other team with a missing Mark Henry, and I think Rocky or Henry is replaced by Jake. I think I've got this right. Jerry Lawler. Does he come out talking shit? He's definitely going to come out talking shit. No, no microphone for Lawler. You know what's weird about Lawler is he works a lot of Survivor Series. He was supposed to work 93 with the Knights and shit. He worked 94, he worked 95, and he worked here. You know, Raymond, I would love to watch Survivor Series 95 and do a watch-along of that, but we might do something more recent for the next one since we're doing 96 here. Oh, yeah, Dustin's tall. He's way over 6 feet. Sonny said something is as innocent and pure as she looks. Crush's gimmick was a former jail or prison inmate. And here comes Triple H. Yeah, see, even Sonny's been like, something's wrong. Oh, no woman. Oh. He's more than perfect, JR says. So, yeah, perfect was gone. Vince was probably a little bummed out about that. And this is when I've always poked holes in this story of Triple H really being punished after the curtain call. Yes, I know he had to go around and apologize to people and do some jobs on some house shows, but it wasn't that bad. The curtain call was only a few months before this, and here he is with the Intercontinental title. And that hog pen match and shit took place, and the Warrior squash took place before the curtain call. So his punishment was like quick. I think he had to do some jobs on TV, lost the King of the Ring, had to say sorry, and that was it. After that, it was water under the bridge, and he's got a title around his waist here. So it wasn't that bad looking back. Oh, yeah, this is when they kind of started making them a little more Savage and Liz-like with the robe. And Sable in the evening gowns. I was never a big Sable fan, but I think I preferred leather Sable. Oh, GR. Oh, my God. There was definitely Sunny and Sable heat and rivalry there. Like Becky and Charlotte, kind of. And Jim Ross just called Sable the most beautiful in front of Sunny. That was funny. I'm not sure if I agree with Jim Ross between the two. Bryan Adams could be a dark side of the ring, perhaps. Yeah. December to Dismember. Watch along in December. Maybe. I don't want to torture anybody, though. I might want to do something. I'm trying to think of some really good holiday shows that we could do. I'll come up with some stuff. We did some fun stuff last year. I just love this. Here's Barry Windham as the stalker. At least he doesn't have the camouflage on his face. And there he is. Here's Rocky. Look at him. I mean, a mild response from the crowd. I don't know what he is wearing. He's so bad. It amazes me how things would turn out after this beginning. I mean, I was looking at this at the time through the eyes of a WWE flag carrier. You know, I was on their side of the war that existed at the time. And I was optimistic about Rocky because I liked Rocky Johnson. And I was like, okay, you know, this could be a big star one day. But I don't think I really saw it this first night. I mean, they're letting Mero be the one to talk here of all these guys. He's going to announce Henry's replacement, I guess. Uh-oh, this wild man has a revelation. I think we know what that is. I think this is the show where it's the fake snake. I think this is the one. If this is the one where he has the big yellow snake, just correct me if I'm wrong. Once he gets to the point where he throws it in the ring, tell me this thing ain't moving at all. I mean, it looks real there, so I guess it is. But I remember when I saw this, I thought it was just fake. Like, look at the way it slid. It's not moving at all. So anyway, it's probably real, but weird. Ooh, Starrcade. Watch along in December. Let's definitely do a Starrcade. 93? Let's stick that one on the list. That would be fun. Thank you for recommending Starrcade. We'll do at least one. I swear that thing is not moving. Look at it. It's just limp. Look at Dave Hebner there. Look at that. With that old school WWF jacket. I'm pretty sure that is a fake snake. Or they've drugged it. Jake has done worse things to snakes. He froze one. He said we were on the Jericho Cruise and he did his one-man show. He said one of his snakes died. It got out in his garage and climbed up into the garage door opener. And then when he opened it up, you know, it's got those gears. You know how those things work. And it just like shredded the snake. I almost got up and walked out. I was like, I don't know if you're saying this to be, you know, if you think this is funny or whatever, because he was telling the story in almost like a comical form. I'm like, this isn't funny. This isn't funny at all. So just disturbing. So, ugh. Don't give Jake real snakes. Oh, yeah. Are those the team captains here? It's Hunter and Mero? Yikes. In what universe do you have a team that consists of Barry Windham, Jake the Snake Roberts, and The Rock, and Mark Mero is the captain? Fucking universe is this? No offense, Mark. Love you. Oh, yeah. That's a good one, too. We Are Pro Wrestling. Jericho becoming undisputed champion because that happened here in San Diego, I think. So, yeah. Put that on the list. I've got, luckily, in my watch-along folder, I have a document pulled up. So let me just jot these down. Starrcade and Vengeance 2001. There we go. They're in. Save. So there's no way I can forget now. Damn, Sonny dropping some 1990s names. Terry Hatcher, she said, and who else did she say? Oh, Jenny McCarthy. Terry Hatcher and Jenny McCarthy, who in both in 96 were quite marvelous. Especially Terry Hatcher, my God. All right, I need another Stella Artois. 2 seconds. All right. Most downloaded woman. She was at the time. WWE was also all up the ass of Cindy Margolis. Remember her? I just never knew anything of her other than what in WWE talked about her, so I didn't know who she was other than that. But Jenny McCarthy was all over TV. And Terry Hatchers are real, and they're spectacular. She's the best. Yeah, Anthony, that's why Vengeance 2001 is perfect, because it's the 20-year anniversary of that one. A victory cigar. I used to live in the South, and I liked how some people would put the wrong emphasis on the wrong syllable, you know, like the cigar. They would say, like, vehicle. That shit cracked me up. Vehicle. Or cement. Like, if you hit, like, cement, it was cement. I'm like, that one always just cracked me up. I'm like, I can't say cement. It sounds ridiculous, but to them, it was totally normal. Chadav, you're welcome. Brock Shamrock King of the Ring 98 was like Goldberg versus Lesnar. Was the match that bad? I barely remember. That she-devil. Rhonda Shear. She was a bit much. That's right, Kelvin. Thank you. The yellow snake was Revelations. I swear that thing's dead, man. Or it's not, or it's fake. When he threw it in. All right, we got Rocky in the ring here. He had pretty basic moveset early, but I liked it. You know, he did the little float over counter into the DDT thing that he learned very early. He was trying to get the little arm movements down with that shit a lot. Seemed to be very important to Vince. They were probably pushing that on him hard. And it's a good nip up, but like his babyface shit was so basic. I mean, he really hadn't had much training at this point. They wouldn't put a performance center guy in the ring with as much training as Rock has here now. And so that, you know, that shit baby faces do when they knock the heel down and then they're like, bah, bah, or whatever. He was just it was bad. It was so bad. Oh my God, you got to start changing it up. But you're super green at this point. Like, you did the best he could. And I think you did well, all things considered. Oh, look at this. Rock and Triple H. I wonder if they'd wrestle ever again after this. Is this the first time is this the only time they've wrestled right here? I think it is. It's probably the only time. Boy, this would be the very, 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 very beginning of what was a pretty epic part of the Attitude Era in terms of rivalries. Man, this has got to be like, when you think about where that Mero and Hunter stuff started, it was way back at WrestleMania when Sable came to the ring with Triple H and he lost to Warrior. So much had changed, and these two were still having issues with each other. Yeah, I remember his hair was a bit much. We commented on it. I remember sitting there like, what's going on with his head? It actually kind of looks more modern for today. You know how every single guy in the world has the shaved on the sides, long on top thing? So he kind of looks like he matches what's going on today. Daniel Bryan's hair looked a lot like that in his match the other night against the Miro. I remember that night, man, that Thursday, Raw Thursday. I watched it. I recorded it. And I remember being surprised when he beat Triple H for the belt. I was like, oh, that's a bit early. But they were desperate for guys. They needed to make people, you know. They were lacking star power, you know, in that company. WCW had taken so many of the most recognizable names. So this was kind of the beginning of let's make stars mode. And look at how early, how early they are in the careers of both these guys, Triple H and Rock, at this point. So they would both have a long way to go. All through that next year, you know, them trying to keep up with WCW and just try not to get buried too badly until these guys can develop, evolve, and really get over on their own. Maybe someday Vince McMahon and the Triple H will purchase the Tony Khan and the AEW wrestling. Maybe. Maybe we'll buy it. We'll take all the super chats. We'll gather them up. Whatever we have, we'll make an offer and see if we can buy AEW from Tony Khan. They might take it. I mean, I think we'd do a great job running it. We could just have like live streams every Sunday and we'll discuss the booking and shit. I mean, ultimately, I will be the final say, but I'll take all your input. And I think together we'll run a fine little wrestling company. Greg Elite Wrestling. GEW. I like how Sunny's kind of still in manager mode while she's on commentary. I'm not sure how's Sunny doing on commentary. She's not that obnoxious, but she's quite full of herself. Lawler and Jake, this stuff still going on. I like how Jake just said fuck it with the thing he was wearing. He was covering up his body there when his return in 96, but by this point he's like, screw it. I'm old, so what? What scares the shit out of me, the jumping nut shit out of me, is that Jake, DDT to Lawler. Lawler's done. Look at him sell it. Hilarious. Jake here is younger than I am right now. God, that scares me shitless. He looks like he's 107 years old. I've done a few less drugs than Jake in my life, so maybe that helps my causes, but I hated the King Jake feud too. They really shouldn't have gone there, you know, with that storyline. Jake was just clearly not together. And no matter how much he wanted to pretend, you know, he needed help. Lawler's leaving, Burger King chants and all. Yeah, Goldust would be, I guess, on the verge of going babyface here. think around the beginning of the year he'd be face. Yeah, that's right, because I remember during that interview backstage, Triple H was kind of looking at eyeballing Marlena a little bit, and I think they go somewhere with that. I think he tries to steal her, and Goldust gets pissed, and they feud. Yeah, Hawk, Jeff Hardy, they did it with, CM Punk's not that touchy, but I know Jericho, and they brought alcohol into that. Basically anybody, they did it with Scott Hall. Anybody who's had an alcohol problem, they've brought storylines. But a lot of companies have, so it's stupid. It's cheap. It's uncreative. At least with stuff like that. Yes, Sonny, Blackjack Mulligan. She goes, Blackjack Mulligan. Good for you, Sonny. Not many women in 1996 would know who Blackjack Mulligan is. Yeah, Goldust and Triple H at the Rumble. Is that when Triple H brought in Mr. Hughes for a minute and a half? I think he was there in that match. They could not figure out who to put. They needed just some heater for Triple H, and it was one after another. And then finally, I think right after that was when they got Chyna in there. And then it started coming together. Wow. Rhodes pins Windham. Feels good to say that. Unfortunately, it's not on TBS on Saturday. It's when both of these guys have ridiculous names in the WWE in New York City. I didn't completely, totally over-the-top hate the new Blackjacks like most did. I thought as silly as the teams were at the time, they weren't any sillier than anything else, and it was a callback to the old days, and both guys have, connections to the original Blackjacks. They're both about the same size. They're both good in the ring, and I thought they did a good job kind of emulating the look, and, it wasn't as bad as like the new Midnight Express. That was a fucking joke. But if you're going to recreate a tag team and use the name, I don't think, I look at the new Midnight Express as a complete joke. But I looked at the Blackjacks as a pretty fair, modern representation of what the old Blackjacks were. But everybody just shit on it and thought it was the worst thing in the world, and it wasn't great. But considering the fact that you had the Godwins and some of the ridiculous teams you had around that time, I was like, shit, they're so much worse than them. But, I would have even put the straps on them at some point. I would have ran with them for a short time just to do it. I don't think it would have been that bad. But I am in the extreme minority. I don't think there's anybody out there who's a new Blackjacks fan. I just thought Bradshaw and Windham made a good-looking team. So sometimes you like bad shit in the world. Morocco's in the house. He was Intercontinental Champion when I was born. Or no, he was not. The Intercontinental title did not exist when I was born. He was Intercontinental Champion when I started watching wrestling. Oh, that was actually a good-looking knee. Yeah. Bruce, the tag team division was hideous. Hideous. And WCW had it going on around this time. They had all the teams. I think Steiners were there. I think Road Warriors were there too. Had Harlem Heat, Nasties, Hall and Nash, obviously. They had teams. Good ones. And WWE had shit. I remember around this time, I think it was 96, there were demolition rumblings because Crush was here, and there was talk of maybe Darso coming over, but I think he was in WCW at the time, like doing the golfer thing, and I was like, it would be cool if, they could get him over there or something, unless the golfer might have been before then. He might have been available. That might have been what it is, but he never came in, and I'm like, a demolition resurrection in 96 wouldn't have been that bad. Yeah, it would have been cheap. It wouldn't have looked, WWE probably would have gotten a little heat for it, but as a fan, I kind of would have liked to see it and to hear the music again and that sort of thing. So as far as I know, Darso was still wrestling, so they could have brought him in. I don't think Bill Eadie was an option, but Darso, I think. But they never did it. Oh, I didn't know that he was reborn as Blackjack after the power bomb, or maybe because of the power bomb. I remember that match. Oh, was Crush already in the Nation? I think he was. Or maybe not yet. No, maybe not quite yet, because I think the new Nation is like basically about to debut here, or at least Farouk is about to drop the blue helmet and shit. So, I can't remember. I can't remember. They said Mark Henry was injured here. I can't remember if he was really injured or if they just pulled him and had him get a little bit of more work before they stuck him on pay-per-view again. I mean, he could have been easily protected in this match with all these guys in it. No idea if Omega was injured going into the match last night. He might have been. He made the tag. Double axe to Mero. Man, Sonny's not only shitting on Sable, she's shitting on Mero too. Jesus, Sonny. The Warriors finally lost a game. Are they on a run or something? I wasn't even aware of what they're doing. I like how they're doing a split screen of Sonny here for some reason. Yeah, I don't even know what Mero's doing. Oh, wow, he did that. Oh, and he pinned him with that. And I'm pretty sure they might even work one more pay-per-view. I think they might work the February show, Mero and Hunter. So this shit would go on for nearly a year between the two of them. Oh, drop kick to Crush. Oof. Oh, man, that was a close bump by Mero there. Close call. Oh, my God, Sonny. Oh, yeah, Bruce. Sonny was about as good as it gets back then in 96. That's peak Sonny. And what makes it all the more sad is, like, Sonny not only, like, was she just super crazy hot, but she was really good. And she, like, that's where Sable wasn't good. Like, Sable wasn't good at anything. And she couldn't, like, cut promos at all. She didn't have that charisma or connection at all, where Sonny kind of, like, knew how to work an audience. And she was really good on the mic. And Crush has heart-punched Jake into elimination there. But even in the early days of, like, Body Donnas, and she would come out with Skip, and she'd be on the mic, she would rattle off whatever they gave her to say perfectly, you know? Like, like a complete professional. Like she'd been doing it forever. And she was just really good at that type of stuff. Where Marlena had no mic skills, Sable had no mic skills, Sunny was better than all of them when it came to that stuff. Look at Rocky's hair. My God. The Chia Pet, man. Crush is like, I'm going to fool this idiotic babyface with the test of strength. He's like literally an infant. Just Rocky's like, okay, I'll do this. There's nothing can go wrong, okay? Kicked, punched. And Rocky's all by himself now, so of course he's going to get the big babyface comeback here. Could see this coming from yesterday. I think at the time, it might have been the shoulder breaker he was using. I mean, Dustin and Adams here, like, he's in the ring with a couple of guys. They'll do him right. Exactly. It was 2 years later. Only 2 years it would take this kid to win the title. That was just crazy to me at the time. Ooh, low nut shot to Rocky. Down he goes. Yeah, it was a shoulder breaker he was using. Took him a while to figure it out. Ooh, heart punch to Goldust. Rocky will probably eliminate one of them here. High crossbody, so babyface. I mean, he had the basics down. I mean, I guess that's about all he had. Yeah, well, Taker at least had a run in WCW and had a couple of years in the business. This was literally Rock's first match on TV. He had worked. Wow, and there goes Goldust. And that's it. And he had worked on the independents and stuff, and he had some matches or whatnot, but still, not many of them. Taker was more experienced by the time he got to the title than Rock was when he did. Although it is close. And they gave the kid, look at that generic, shitty-ass music they had back then. Not a huge response here from the crowd. They are, like, okay with it. But it would get worse for poor Rocky. Oh, my God, Sonny. Yeah, Sonny's teasing that she wants to get her hooks into Rocky. Came a long way from that. Sure did. 25th anniversary. I can't believe it's been 25 years. My God. All right, we're getting a fade out. Oh, we're going to go to Brett and Austin. All right, they're going to run the Brett and Austin video package. I'll be right back while they're doing that. All right, we are back. All right, they are running the Brett and Austin stuff. This was so good. Even before it started, you knew it was going to be good. They had done the Pillman spot where he got messed up by Austin. That great In Your House promo, you put the letter S in front of Hitman. That was great. Oh, wow. Freddie Joe Floyd. I forgot Austin worked against Freddie Joe, Bob Holly, Jake. The letter S in front of Hitman. One of the greatest ever. Can't believe no heel has ever used that before. Until then. Can't believe that sounds like something Flair would say. Austin said he doesn't have to invent a bunch of dumb slogans. That's literally what you do, Austin. You've got like 6 of them. Here we go, Brett and Austin. Todd Pettengill. Miss Todd. Look at Todd talking it up. I loved this version of Austin. Pre-pile driver Austin was my favorite. Here he goes. And the crowd kind of gave him a somewhat warm response here. Kind of an omen for later. He's so great. This is a great time. Wish I could kind of relive this because Austin hadn't really exploded. He was starting to, and like just to be able to feel that anticipation and relive somebody gaining momentum like that. I mean, the closest we have to this right now would be Hangman Page, but at the same time, nothing's ever going to match this level of popularity and how hard he rose. Austin was seducing the camera. There's Brett. I was happy to see him back. Yeah, Brett's still taking those shots at Shawn. Madison Square Garden. Brett has won IC titles and world titles in the Garden. So he wasn't going to be losing here. Unless he's in there against Owen, perhaps. Brett enjoyed saying that a lot, that he was not greedy for money. He was greedy for respect. He was trying to justify in his own mind taking Vince to the fucking cleaners on that contract. What is going on in Austin's nose there? Just water, I hope. Jesus. I like how Vince would try to get psyched up when his baby faces would come out. Come on, crowd, cheer for this guy I'm paying a fucking $1 jillion to. Hell no. Brett's WCW run didn't set right with anyone. Not Brett, not them, not us. It was good to see him back. I had missed him leaving after Mania 12. Jim Johnson lives with Brett's awesome theme. Yeah, the wrestling fan in me was happy to see this one. Because even at the time, even though WCW was stealing the names, I still thought like matches like this were better. I'd rather watch this than pretty much any match that WCW could give me. It was more just the NWO storyline and stuff that was capturing so much of their attention. And, of course, the Cruiserweight matches were great and everything, but in terms of their top-level talent, I still thought what they were doing at the top of the card in WWE was a notch better than WCW. There's Jim Ross putting over that shitting on the trash man gimmicks. WWE's trying to make an effort to maybe get away from that a little bit. And doing that through Jim Ross. Shitting on that stuff. Although the Stalker is still there. Pipe Bomb 2011 might be the closest thing to an Austin-level popularity. Maybe we're still a ways off. But when you think about the next below that, Punk could be it. Yeah, a Fink MSG entrance, or I'm sorry, a Brett MSG entrance with Fink doing the announcements. There's nothing better. There's nothing sweeter. This is a pretty awesome stare down here. I think they had worked the tour after WrestleMania 12. I think Brett had stuck around to do the European tour or something before finishing up his time off, and I think they worked on that. And there is footage, I think, of that match somewhere at some time. But this is the first TV showdown here. It's the beginning of a hugely awesome rivalry. This was a better wrestling match than WrestleMania 13, but WrestleMania 13 was still the better match. You know what I mean? It's one of those situations.
They're in their prime. We're going to see the best of Bret Hart and the best of Steve Austin. I've waited on this for a long time. Again, look at this drop time.
Timmy White, referee.
The worst thing anyone could say to you.
Vince goes, if you can imagine the worst thing anyone could ever say to you, that's what Austin is saying to Brett. And that's hilarious. Yeah, Austin had no fucks to give at this point.
Neither of these two men have ever submitted in a match in their entire career. And I believe it's going to come down.
Jim Ross is claiming neither man has submitted. Stunning Steve never submitted in WCW.
How humiliating for one of these athletes to give up here in Madison Square Garden. I don't think they could ever live it down. How ironic would it be if Stone Cold Steve Austin placed a sharpshooter on Bret Hart and won by submission? And again, anything can happen. Good waist lock there, and Bret counters. Nice maneuver. Good switch.
Yeah, Jim Ross and Vince have just got funny energy on commentary during this match. It is weird. What's up, Chris? Thanks, dude, for that 5. I loved the black and white promos Austin cut in the alley saying, Brett, you'll beg for mercy. Those were so money to build up the match. It's way better than any build today. Austin just had that. He was so intense, though. At that time, you hadn't seen anything like him yet, so that's what just made it so good. Yeah, but the black and white was a nice touch. NWO was good with the black and white stuff, too.
Bret looks to be in great shape. He hired a personal trainer to help get himself ready. He should be, all of his old nagging injuries should be fully healed.
Yeah, Brett was pretty fresh, one would assume at this point. Yeah, Vince acknowledging the crowd, being cool with him. From what I remember, they go a pretty good amount of time here, too. And I think Brett would have endurance issues, but he didn't. Oh. JR said, Brett won the title at WrestleMania 10. I watched that on pay-per-view. I'll be right back. My cats are making noise. 1 second. All right. Sorry about that. I just had to make sure everything was all right in there. I have them in the closet, and I don't want them bothering us. And something was going on, so I had to go scope it out, but all good. This is, man, it's so good to see Austin, like, pre-knee braces and stuff, like, all fresh and athletic. He could bump around. He could do so much stuff back in these days. Yeah, it would have been a good dream match around like 94-ish, like Bret Hart against Stunning Steve. It would have been pretty good back then. Jim Ross. 95, Austin was done in WCW. I miss those stun guns. Austin kind of stopped doing a lot of this stuff after he got injured. Sucks. Kind of forgot how good some of his work was. And they would announce, I think, during this match or right before it, that the winner would get the title shot at the next pay-per-view. So they were really hot-shotting things here at the It's Time in Your House, which would be Brett and Sid. And I remember thinking at the time, I'm like, that's awfully quick. They should save this. I mean, I don't know what the hurry is. WrestleMania is right around the corner. But I think at the time of them announcing this, you know, Sid wasn't champ yet. Shawn was. So I'm like, holy shit, they're going to do Brett and Shawn in December? That seems crazy to me. So it was weird with the outcome of the main event. Yeah, Austin got hurt. I think at the February pay-per-view, Michael, and then he started wearing that knee brace. And then and as time would go by, he'd be rocking 2 of them before long. Yeah, crowd likes him. Crowd likes him in the Garden. Ooh, that savage squash in WCW was tough to watch. Yeah, Austin had just started using the stunner. He hadn't totally established it yet. Yeah, Sean was none too pleased with the crowd and their reaction later in that main event. Brett still kicking out. I always like the finish of this match, too. Yeah, man, Sid came a long way. I really enjoyed this time period, Sid. The previous year in 95, he was kind of a joke. He was just jobbing to Shawn, and he was kind of a joke of a big man when they feuded him with Diesel. They made him look like a coward, and he was largely invisible, and then he disappeared for a while, and they brought him back because they needed someone, and he fit the role perfectly. He looked great with that Winged Eagle title. I thought it looked good on Sid. Slugfest. Look at, I love these shots. Look at them trading them. He wins the fisticuffs. Okay, so there is tape or there is video of that match. Thank you for that, Michael. Thanks for that $5 too. On the Coliseum Video World Tour 96 in Kuwait, Brett beat Austin with the sharpshooter, May of 96. So yeah, that matches up. That's exactly the time period that match took place. I just couldn't remember if it was actually on video or not. I guess it is. That's cool. I don't have that Coliseum video. I got a lot of them, but I don't have that one. Yeah, so that means I've definitely seen the match then. I've seen it online for sure. Oh, yeah, Sid Justice got big pops in 91. He was over. Bulldog coming up. Oof. Turnbuckled him. Oh, yeah. Sid did have that. Sid's just physique and everything was so... He was very typical Vince. It's what Vince likes. And with the title, he looked legit. Even at this time when WWE had some serious competition going on. And a lot of the people on that competition have beaten Sid. But he still, I thought, carried the title well. Oh, Brett's... I've only seen Brett do this like one time. That's his second rope elbow, but he delivered it from the top rope, and he just hit it perfectly. That's looked so good. I don't recall too many times he did that. Probably hell on his knees. Backlund did not look good with the winged eagle at all, Ruben. I agree. He's the worst, easily. Yeah, he's got Brett out. I know, Kelvin. They could have paid this thing off at the end, too, by having Austin beat Brett for the title or something. It would have been great. After Austin had put Brett over in the early period. JR says Austin wants to injure him. Like Brian Pillman. Oh, they tried to go over the barricade. It didn't break. Oh, that sucks. That was a good bump by Austin through the barricade, too. A Donnybrook in Madison Square Garden. Owen looked great with the winged eagle for about 6 seconds. I totally agree. Owen did look good. He would have looked good with that whole King of Hearts gimmick and the glasses and everything. He would have looked great with the title. Absolutely. Kick his butt. Oh, they're going to try a slingshot here. I think he goes through the announce table or something. Yeah, over the announce table. On to Hugo Siminovich. Good to see Hugo, as always. Always taking a bump, poor Hugo. They're going to underneath the table. Vince is freaking out. Oh, Hugo goes down. What impact. Brett's all right. He took a worse bump the year before. Oof. Oh, Brett's on the other table. Oof. Elbow to the solar plexus or the heart or the neck of Brett. Vince is putting over Austin hard. Despite everything. Oof. Big suplex. Brett literally bounced a good inch off the canvas. God. Oh, yeah, Vader was originally supposed to be in this match later with Shawn Michaels. And Shawn poo-poo faced everything. Ooh, Austin with the second rope elbow. Back in these days, he was probably trying to use that as a setup for the stunner. Owen should have beat Brett at SummerSlam 94. A lot of people feel that way and held the belt till 11. Wow, they would have had to stretch that out, but maybe at that time they could have pulled it off. Raw was still only an hour long back in those days. I'd prefer that over what they did, that's for sure. Oh, this is when the commentary's trying to act like they don't want fans to cheer for him. Like, Austin doesn't care about you. I can't. Is it Let's Go Austin? Or is it Let's Go Brett? Or it might be dueling chants, actually. Additional leverage on the top rope. Bullshit. Oh, he's very slick. Timmy White saw nothing. Saw nothing, Timmy. Nothing happened. Up. Oh, they blurred out the double middle fingers. Come on, WWE. That's more fisticuffs in the middle. They're slugging it out. I love it. The crowd's loving it. Vince is loving it. Austin selling the shit out of those punches. Round 2, Bret Hart. Great shit. Oh, wow, look at that bump Austin took. He would never take that after the pile driver. Austin, pull your britches down. Oh, Brett trying to roll up. Ooh, that looked a little ugly, but kick out. Oof, that looked so good. Stun gun. Oh, pile driver. That would be an omen. That's a properly executed pile driver. Nope. Yeah, they were putting over how good their matches were, and they were. They were excellent compared to WCW's. Backbreaker coming up, I think. Yeah. I think we get a superplex spot here, I think, hopefully. Yeah, we should have gotten that payoff of Austin pinning Brett. Totally. Yeah, Ben, this was for the winner would get a title shot at the next pay-per-view. Oh, big superplex. This is going to be good. God, they took that bump. It did not look good. Austin folding himself up under the ropes. Double pin coming up. What a maneuver that was. Classic Vince. Vince. Man. That was a rough bump. Ooh, stunner. There it is. Brett's close to the ropes. Oh, he pulled him. And Brett kicks out, of course. Oh, so JR saying he should have gone for the cover and not pulled Brett away. And he's hammering Brett now. Brett still kicks out. Look at all that tape unraveling from Steve. He's a mess out there. Sharpshooter. Oh, Cloverleaf. Cloverleaf on Brett. Brett's trying to kick out. Get to the ropes, Brett. Crawl. He'll make it. Of course he'll make it. He's Bret Hart. Oof. Look at that. Austin's waiting until the very end to break it. Smart heel. Oof. Into the post. Crazy hard. Oof. Oh, look at this. It's a bow and arrow. Brett likes to fight out of this and try to apply the sharpshooter. Ooh, he did not kick out of that well, but he got out. Nope, nope. Austin's stopping him. And he's in the ropes. God, Austin. Oh, sleeper. It is anybody's match. Oof, jawbreaker. Austin slapping himself around. Vince saying Brett has met his match. Here comes the $1 Million Dream. This is it. WrestleMania 8. Piper and Brett. Kicks back. Bit of a fast count, but he got the win. So awesome. Austin wouldn't let go of the hold. I mean, like I said, in the ring, that was better than the WrestleMania 13 match. But, of course, WrestleMania 13 will go down more epically, kind of like how I think Taker and Mankind was better at King of the Ring 96. But, of course, Hell in the Cell in 98 will go back down as the biggest match between them. So, Jim Ross breaking it down. I mean, that was a dream match at the time. I was excited to see that one. To me, that was a dream match in my own head. I like both guys in both companies, and to see them collide was pretty awesome.